Jedi.
Well, that Jedi is going to attack. Release the Senator.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and all you beautiful Gungans and droids out there across our lovely empire, where we set today are going to talk about the final marquee Gungan in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, the Gungan Phalanx. And I don't know if you've been around town lately, but I've been kicking some butt with these Gungans over the past couple weeks now. Now, as we've been saying, the Gungan Phalanx, the tank for the Gungans, is going to really define how far this Gungan team can go. They're already looking really good, but this tank, if it can protect the generator well, it can go from good to amazing. Well, what does this guy do? Now, I've been saying since we got our second Gungan, Captain Tarples, I said I think I can actually use this team in its current state in Grand Arena. And I have been. Check this out right here. This was just yesterday in case you missed it. I said in theory, this team should excel against Reva in Grand Arena because Death Mark means nearly next to nothing versus the Gungan since they almost have no max health and the shield generator protects them. The Death Mark from Reva makes this so easy where the Gungans are looking like a max banner win up against Reva. This right here, even before we talk about the Phalanx and of course Jar Jar Binks right around the corner, this shows that right now against Reva at her peak with Omicrons and a great Empire Datacron, with the Gungans not having any Grand Arena Datacrons or Omicrons, this is amazing for them. This right here should sell you. This is going to be a great team in the future for when you guys can have it. But now the question is, with the Gungan Phalanx in the game, does it make the team better? Well, let's just say it feels like the Resistance Bomber in terms of tanks, but I'd rather have the Gungan Phalanx than not have it. So let's get chatting about it. Now, of course, we have a lovely graphic for the Gungan Phalanx, showcasing the best way to mod this guy. Thanks to people for making the graphic, but we updated the rest of the graphics for the Gungans because now that we have the Core 4, this team is 100% usable before Jar Jar Binks. And this seems to be the way that top guilds are going to be modding the Gungans, and they are going to be used sometime in the near future here. So big thanks to people for putting this together and to make sure we continue to have these accessible for you guys. I'm going to try to do better making known some of the resources I've made because I've been seeing a lot of questions asked about Zeta, Zeta Purdy, Omicron Purdy, and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to continue to leave links to my ultimate spreadsheet that I've made where I answer pretty much the majority of those questions, and we added the Gungans to the spreadsheet now where we show the Zeta Purdy, and moving forward I'm going to make sure we have Pimpo's graphics for modding for all these different factions and maybe try to revisit some of the older stuff that don't have these graphics yet. So hope that helps you out. Links down below for access to that, and hopefully it helps you guys out. I feel bad that maybe I'm not promoting the stuff enough because I get these questions, so I'm going to try to make sure we know they're on your radar moving forward. So the Gungan Phalanx, our tank for the Gungans, is kind of an important role. Of course, right now we're seeing Tarples, Boss Nass, and Boomadir bring the damage, and they're doing very well in that regard where the team is very usable. But the thing is that we've been noticing is that the shield generator is the core focus of the team. Of course, enables the team to be nearly invincible, but the thing is, nearly all of the teams that we fight, they are already hard programmed to ignore everything else and go after the shield generator and knock it down quickly. So, as we've been saying, the Phalanx really is going to define if this team can go to amazing status from good. And as we saw from the key reveal, it's just okay in its current state. It taunts, but not nearly enough for it to feel like it makes a big difference. But hey, every extra punch the Phalanx tanks means that the shield generator can stick around a couple of turns longer. But by no means is this one of the best tanks in the game. So let's roll some gameplay, Gary, and talk about the Phalanx in general then. So really with the Gungan Phalanx, I'm not feeling, it's the first Gungan that I feel like we're not really moving the meter at all. The Boss Nass, Tarples, Boomadir, very evident that we're moving the meter forward. The Phalanx, I'll admit, is one of the snoozier members of the team. Now, of course, we're going to talk about Jar Jar. Maybe Jar Jar can move the needle and do some stuff for the Phalanx to make it a lot more interesting, but I'll admit, I felt a little quieter. I felt a little, bored using the Phalanx. It felt like I was already winning the battle, or maybe even some situations losing the battle, regardless of the Phalanx. The Phalanx really buys you a couple of extra turns, it feels like. Now, in regards to taunting, which is all we really care about, there's two ways to get this guy to taunt. First and foremost, as we're going to talk about with the Zetas later on for the Gungans, the Zeta allows the Phalanx to taunt when the shield generator loses 2 stacks or more plasma shielding in a single turn, and he only gets the taunt for 1 turn. Now, it's not the greatest condition. It would have been better if it was 1 stack of shield shield generator, or when you get the taunt, it's an undispellable taunt, and unfortunately it's very ignorable, it's very temporary, and it's very conditional when this guy can taunt. And the other way is using the Heyo Watch Out ability, where this ability allows him just to taunt for one turn. So you just want to try to smash this as often as possible, because the taunt is one of the shorter taunts in the game. It's not a 2-turn, 3-turn, 4-turn taunt, permanent taunt. It's a 1-turn taunt. So anytime you have the opportunity, try to get the taunt out there. The whole goal of the Phalanx that I can see so far is just buying you an extra 1, 2, maybe 3 turns away from the shield generator and force the enemy to take a break from the generator and bang him up a little bit. And sometimes those little bit of extra turns of him tanking will buy you the time that your shield generator needs to stay alive as long as possible. But that's it. There's nothing else to this guy that really is of high interest to me. There's no pre-taunt, there's no perma-taunt, and even the other aspects of the kit just seem okay. You know, I don't think anything else in the kit beyond just the taunt is really adding too much to the Gungans. I was really hoping that the Raise the Shield would do a lot more damage. It deals an additional instant of damage equal to 10% of the Gungan Phalanx max protection, and I'm not really feeling much in regards to that damage. And I saw like maybe 16, maybe 20,000. Of course, there are things throughout the Gungans kit that let them ramp up their protection, so in theory, this should get a little bit better over time. You know, and he's got, you know, shield up things that he can gain. I didn't really notice Retaliate too much. Retaliate was supposed to be like the Steadfast Retribution, where you deal 20% of the damage received per stack to the attacker's true damage, but Retaliate can be, again, dispelled very easily. So even the Retaliate, which sounds cool on paper, isn't doing much right now. And even the shield up, where you gain a shield based on your max protection, so it's kind of the new, like, protection up. The problem is, I don't really notice this doing much when the shield generator's up. When the shield generator's up, your team barely loses any protection. It's just such a durable team with all the generator effects of not being able to be critically hit and the incredible amount of defense that your team has. However, I will give credit where the Gungan Phalanx feels like it maybe starts benefiting the team a little bit more is when the shield generator finally goes down. The Raise the Shield and all these other abilities that the Gungan Phalanx has is really where I start feeling a little bit more contribution from the Phalanx, is when you're trying to do that final stand and the generator's down. You want to have ways to recover protection, gain that shield up, and all the other protection recovery that he has. That's when it really starts feeling like it makes a difference. And the protection over time that his basic ability, Fierce Poke, allows him to do. However, there's a few more additional benefits I think it's worth covering. That unique ability, as I said, I think it does a lot, even though if it might not be taunted or the shield generator goes down, there's still things that are nice to have. Again, I wouldn't want to have the Gungans without this tank. Of course, it's contributing. It's just maybe not the dream team choice that we wanted, but for example, if the Phalanx does not get damaged by the enemy, which is going to be quite a lot, because when he's not taunting, they're going to go down the shield generator. We're going to get extra assisting power out of the Phalanx. The next turn, a Gungan takes an opportunity. And we have another pretty solid way of removing stacks of recharge from the allied shield generator. And I've been noticing a lot more now. With each additional Gungan, we're noticing we're removing a lot more of the recharge. And I'm able to use the basic ability with that shield generator a lot more, which kind of tops us off, gives us a nice little Terminator boost, and keeps us moving along. It's almost like a BB-8 in a very small capacity. And then, of course, that final stand mechanism where the shield generator goes down. All the Gungans kind of do this. Hey, we're making our final stand right here, boys. Where when the shield generator gets destroyed, we're recovering a big chunk of protection on the Phalanx, and we have a cleanse on all of the Gungans, which is kind of a big deal. So overall, when we look at where the Gungans are, they were already pretty solid. I still feel like we have a lot more room to grow because we have Jar Jar Binks around the bend. But right now, the Gungan Phalanx just feels okay. You know, they could have found a lot of ways to make this tank a lot more interesting. Maybe when the Phalanx taunts, you can't target the shield generator. Maybe a perma taunt, a longer taunt than one turn, an undispellable taunt, something along those lines. He's doing just bare minimum for the Gungans right now. However, the big thing I want to make evident is that this is a team of 4. We are obviously missing Jar Jar Binks, who will have Grand Arena Omicrons and will be a legendary character. All these Gungans will be required at Relic 5 to get him, so I can only imagine with Jar Jar Binks, there will be ways to maybe improve the tank's capabilities, improve the rest of the team, maybe even add additional effects for the shield generator. But I do also expect that Jar Jar might be bringing something that will also provide a detriment to the team. I think it's kind of expected. So all I'm saying is, right now, the tank is just okay. It's not amazing, not like super high regards for it, but just keep in mind, we have a legendary character that we're missing out on. For that 5th member, we're missing Grand Arena Omicrons, and I don't want this to take away from the fact that the team right now, in general, actually been seeing through a variety of gameplay is competing with a lot of the top modern teams. Beating Ariba, not many non-GL teams can boast about that, especially for high banners. That is a big deal. That's going to be probably the biggest thing for me moving forward for this Gungan team. We're able to beat things like Zori pretty easily. General Anakin Skywalker is kind of maybe a hit or miss. I think with Jar Jar we should be able to beat General Skywalker, but we don't see too much Skywalker on defense anyways. We're able to beat Supreme Leader Kylo Ren's potential. Again, you don't really see it, but still, they have the opportunities even before the full team of beating some galactic legends. So in case it hasn't been evident now, especially the past couple Grand Arenas I've been using the Gungans, this team is very usable right now, way better than things like the Inquisitors being built up. And again, we still have plenty of room to grow. But in the meantime, while this team is still growing, let's go over the Zetas real quick. And again, I updated the spreadsheet for the Gungans. Now that the team is kind of built up, we've been talking a lot about them. We have the modding on there that we recommend, as well as Zeta priorities. Really not much in the way of Omicron priorities I think are important at the moment. I'm sure we'll talk more about that when Jar Jar comes around for Grand Arena. But right now, in terms of Zetas, as it stands, I feel like if you really want to get the most out of these Gungans at the moment, we're going to want to make sure we get all the stuff for Boss Nass and Captain Tarpals locked in. That's what enables the Gungans to do all the good stuff that the core is all about. Tarpals making sure we have the damage. Boss Nass lead really enabling the Gungan identity that they have. And then afterwards, you know, again, this could change depending on what Jar Jar does to affect the Phalanx potentially. These Zetas might mix around a little bit. As it stands, the Gungan Phalanx, the Zeta is going to be nice. I think it's a second priority thing after you take care of the core of the Gungan identity. Being able to get the taunt is kind of a big deal. It saves you a couple of hits on the shield generator, but I don't think it's a forefront thing compared to Boss Nass and Tarpals. And then Boomadir, it's still a bugged Zeta. I noticed many times, even when the shield generator's up, we're not preventing revives, but then sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't work. So right now it's a Zeta, it's not 100% working, but still, I hope in one day they are going to fix it. And it's kind of nice when you can stop revives. Like the Reva battle, probably going to be a lot easier when you can stop the revive for Reva. So that's going to wrap it up for today, ladies and gentlemen, all you fantastic Gungans out there. Again, I started off with this team kind of reserved because I don't want to overhype something until we really see where it's going to go, because I don't want people wasting their money to resources throughout the course of the Gungan releases. The Phalanx, yeah, maybe not as cool as the others, but still better to have it than not, I suppose. And I love the fact that the team is very usable and it's taken out some top shelf teams out there. Like, man, I can't emphasize being able to beat Reva in Grand Arena, her forte. It's kind of a sweet deal for them. So if you don't mind, leave that like, comment down below on all Yusa thoughts, and be sure to subscribe so Yusa not missing a thing. And always remember that it's great to be in the Gungan army today. The sun never sets.